Welcome to Guide to Survive. The world is a big, beautiful place, full of incredible and breathtaking sights and experiences. It's also doing everything it can to kill you, and so that's where this program fits in. Before you venture into the great outdoors, you need to learn about all of the terrifying and mystical creatures that lurk in the woods, knock on your window, and hide in your toilet. With this guide, you'll learn how to identify a would-be assailant, analyze its strengths and weaknesses, and deal with it effectively. By the end of your training, you'll be ready to take on any creep or cryptid that crosses your path. So here's to you, and the great adventure that lies ahead. Let's begin. Target analysis. Name: Mongolian Death Worm and Olgoikorkoi, Large Intestine Worm. Class: Cryptid, Giant Worm. Habitat: Gobi Desert, Mongolia. Lifespan: 500 plus years. Strengths: strong tunneler, stealthy, poisonous acidic spit, skin emits electrical charge, numerous rows of teeth, strong senses, substantial muscle mass, and unusually large size. Average 6 feet in length. Weaknesses: 10-month hibernation cycle, low population, and highly explosive. Overall threat level: 9. Behavior: the Mongolian Death Worm. This subterranean predator is an ancient and fascinating cryptid of Mongolian legend. First sighted over a millennia ago, this creature is said to reach an average of 6 feet in length and is a deep red in color. Having no eyes, ears, head, or limbs, it uses light receptors to distinguish between day and night, and adept muscular sensors within its long, giant body to identify movement above the sand. Living beneath the sands of the vast Gobi Desert, the death worm will hibernate for most of the year, emerging for only 2 months out of the year, June and July, though it is particularly attracted to rainfall upon the sand as well. During this time, it will be drawn to movement on the surface of the desert. Stealthily, it will tunnel beneath the sand, creating a wave on the surface as it moves. In order to attack its prey, the death worm will launch itself up through the sand, standing tall like a terrifying meat tree. From there, it will bloat itself before spewing a corrosive venom onto its victims, causing instant death. The death worm's most common targets are large mammals such as livestock and human beings. However, it is also noted to be fond of some local plant life as well. Now, if only I could get my staff to eat their vegetables. Doesn't shine a very flattering light when a massive death worm has higher health standards than us, does it, Arnold? Upon killing its prey, it will sink in its various rows of teeth and begin to break down and devour its victims. This will sustain it over its long hibernation cycle. Curiously, the death worm is said to emit an electrical charge from its skin, which will kill any that come into direct contact with it. This trait, however, while an incredible defense mechanism, is also a fault in its armor, as an electrical charge will also make the creature highly combustible under the right conditions. Its highly defensive nature is only too understandable, given its severely low population. The Mongolian death worm's reproductive cycle is still rather vague. What is known is that it will refrain from consuming one of its victims before laying its eggs within the corpse. This allows the eggs to incubate before emerging and consuming the remaining food from what is technically their first house. It has been theorized that the death worm is asexual in biology, able to produce and fertilize eggs on its own volition before laying them inside of a host. The newly hatched worms are also alleged to be highly aggressive and competitive, devouring the other worms in order to assume dominance and become either the sole or one of few successors to the mantle of the Mongolian death worm. And you thought your relatives were competitive? This would explain why such powerful and predatory creatures reside in such low numbers rather than a clue of death worms. Remember, no matter how prepared you feel or how carefully you act, once you enter the Gobi Desert, you are at the mercy of the Mongolian Death Worm. Stratagem. So, here's the scenario. You're traversing the Gobi Desert, basking in the sunlight and enjoying the vast abundance of sand. Anyway, while walking, you notice a large wave crossing through the sand. Immediately, you recognize it as the Mongolian Death Worm approaching your vicinity. Your plan of attack. Firstly, snack time. While on your travels, you should have collected some of the local plant life. Take what you have and place it into a pile between you and the death worm, then carefully step backwards. If it doesn't notice the salad, then you yourself will be bait, at which point go directly to step 3. Secondly, so sneaky. It's taken the bait. Now, carefully sneak towards it and avoid getting its attention. Thirdly, happy hour. Remove the tactical Jar 19 Last Hurrah alcohol from your person and throw it at the death worm. Its electrical charge should do the rest. Fourthly, take cover. Get down, this is going to get messy. Fifthly, smashing work. Bring me back some of that worm meat, would you? I have plans for its DNA. Pop quiz. Question number 1. Is it true that the Mongolian death worm has special eyelids to protect its eyes from the sand while tunneling? Question number 2. Is the spit of the Mongolian death worm lethal? Question number 3. Is the Mongolian death worm active for most of the year? Question number 4. Does the Mongolian death worm have an omnivorous diet? Question number 5. Is the Mongolian death worm attracted to rainfall? Answers. Question number 1. Is it true that the Mongolian death worm has special eyelids to protect its eyes from the sand while tunneling? Answer. No. The Mongolian death worm has no eyes, but uses light receptors instead. Question number 2. Is the spit of the Mongolian death worm lethal? Answer. Yes. The corrosive and venomous spit of the Mongolian death worm will cause immediate death to any it touches. Question number 3. Is the Mongolian death worm active for most of the year? Answer. No. The Mongolian death worm spends most of the year in hibernation and is only truly active for 2 months, June and July. Question number 4. Does the Mongolian death worm have an omnivorous diet? Answer. Yes. The Mongolian death worm will consume plants, animals, and humans. Question number 5. Is the Mongolian death worm attracted to rainfall? Answer. Yes. The Mongolian death worm is drawn to rain and wet sand. If you scored 0 to 1, then I'm afraid you're worm food. If you scored 2 to 3, then you might be alive, but you're not able to watch Tremors anymore. And if you scored 4 to 5, fantastic work. I'd almost say you don't need these videos, but you do. Conclusion. Excellent work. I'd say you're ready to get out there and face whatever challenges plot against you. And if you're not, then don't worry. You can rewatch these survival guides as much as you like. And they're non-refundable. I'm very proud of the progress you've made, and I know you're going to take the future in your stride. I've got a good feeling about you, Sandy Cheeks. Get it? Because of that one episode? Never mind. Good luck, and don't die!